Welcome back. Now that you've got a handle on what cloud computing is, the next step is understanding how responsibilities are divided once you start using the cloud. A lot of people assume that moving to Azure means Microsoft takes care of everything, but that's really not how it works. Instead, what happens is that you and Microsoft each take on different parts of the overall security and management picture. And that division is laid out in what's called the shared responsibility model. This shared responsibility model defines who's responsible for what so nothing gets overlooked. Now, in a traditional on prem setup, you're responsible for everything from the physical servers and networking all the way up to firewalls, operating systems, applications, and data protection. However, once you move into the cloud, some of that responsibility shifts to Microsoft. Now, how much shifts depends on the type of cloud service you're using, whether it's infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or software as a service. The higher you move up the ladder, the more Microsoft handles for you. So let's start by taking a look at infrastructure as a service, or IaaS. A good example here is running virtual machines in Azure. In the IaaS model, Microsoft handles the physical data centers, the networking gear, the host servers, basically the underlying infrastructure. But everything you deploy on top of that is still your responsibility. So that's going to include things like the operating system inside your virtual machine, any updates that you apply, applications that you install, and the data that you store. You're also responsible for your access controls and your security configurations. So while you don't need to worry about racks of servers anymore, you do still need to secure the virtual machines and the software running inside them. Now, as you move to platform as a service, or PaaS, Microsoft takes on even more of the work. Examples include things like Azure App Service or Azure SQL Database. With platform as a service, Microsoft doesn't just manage the physical infrastructure, they also manage the platform itself. So think things like the operating system, the middleware, and the runtime environment. Your focus shifts to your application and your data. You're not patching servers or installing runtimes anymore. Microsoft handles all that behind the scenes. You simply deploy your code and make sure your data is secured properly. Now, at the top of the stack is software as a service, or SaaS. This is where Microsoft manages almost everything. Think of Microsoft 365. You're not installing Exchange servers, you're not patching SharePoint. All that is done for you. Your role is to manage your user data, your permissions, and security settings like multi-factor authentication or conditional access, for example. In this model, your biggest responsibility is making sure that your users are secure and your data is protected. Understanding how this model works is incredibly important. Of course, it's going to show up on certification exams, but it's also just essential to understand in real world environments. If you assume Microsoft is going to handle something that's actually your responsibility, you could open up a serious security gap. On the other hand, spending time managing something Microsoft already maintains is wasted effort. So, to wrap it up, the shared responsibility model lays out exactly which tasks are handled by Microsoft and which ones remain with you. And that split is going to change depending on whether you're using IaaS, PaaS, or SaaS. The easiest way to think about it is like a partnership. Microsoft manages the cloud, and you manage what you put in the cloud.